What movie genuinely scared you when you watched it? First horror movie I ever saw was The Grudge. Scared the absolute shit out of me. I always shampooed my hair so fast and would do quick double takes looking behind me to make sure there wasn't a creepy AF ghost hand behind my head, about to help me wash it out. If you know, you know. Oh, Mao. So when my husband was younger, he and his siblings watched The Grudge late one night. Their mother is very skinny with very long black hair. By what I was told, one of his brothers didn't handle the movie well, and after the movie went into the bathroom. The bathroom was right at the top of a stairs. Oh, and it was an old house to top it off. Anyway, I guess she made the croaking sound and flipped her hair over her face and fucking crawled. Literally crawled up the stairs slowly at the door. He peeked out and absolutely lost it, as you can imagine. Hellraiser. From a young age, about 10 or so, I was allowed to watch anything I wanted. And I absolutely flew through every iconic horror series I could find, and it was never an issue. One day we were at my mom's friend's house, and she had Hellraiser on the shelf. I asked if we could borrow it, but was told it was too scary. Then that became the forbidden fruit. And as soon as 13-year-old me got a TV in my bedroom, I stumbled across it on late night Channel 4, thought, fuck you, Mum, and banged it on. Big mistake. I have never been more scared of a film in my whole life. Even now, I struggle to watch it and not be affected. Best thing was, when I told my mom about not being able to sleep and how traumatic it was, she pissed herself laughing and never let me forget it. Honestly, I'm still so traumatized by The Strangers. I absolutely love and exclusively watch horror now. So I know my triggers, and there's really only a few things I find genuinely scary that I just don't even fuck with. But I didn't then. I was in high school at the time. And the big one for me is home invasion. It's my number one fear without a doubt. Then you add the randomness plus hopelessness of the situation in that movie? Girl, bye. I saw it twice in the theaters. Once unwillingly, and the next to try to face my fears and get over how much it fucked me up, but spoiler alert, didn't work. Since I spent so many years not watching horror, I love to go back and rewatch stuff I used to think was scary and sort of clear my mind with a fresh perspective. But that's one I will never even rewatch. It takes a lot to get to me these days, but even thinking about that movie makes me shudder. The Descent scared the hell out of me the first time I saw it. I mean, there's this amazing opening scene, then a building sense of dread as they begin exploring the caves, then the claustrophobia sets in, and then the horror really gets going. Such a great example of mood building. I'll also throw in another vote for Lake Mungo. I don't know why that film feels so real in comparison to other fake documentaries, but it has stuck with me ever since the first viewing. The Descent still scares the shit out of me. I saw it in theaters and legit had finger in my ears and hand over my eyes, while looking through my fingers LOL. For me, what gets me most is the soundtrack. I could watch a horror movie pretty well unaffected without sound LOL. I never get tired of answering this question, Paranormal Activity 1 through 3, especially 1. The delivery of the scares, the pacing, and the mystery was so well done that I, 18 at the time, had to sleep with a light on. I knew it was fake, but the supposed authenticity was immaculate. So much so that I began thinking, what if? What if there really had been a haunting that strong, but we just never heard about it because the victims know no one would believe something like that? I've always watched A Haunting and Ghost Adventures, and even though nothing in those shows compared to the intensity of Paranormal Activity, I kept thinking that one day, just one day, we're going to face something real like that demon in the movie. Or maybe someone already has but won't speak out of fear of the disbelief they'll face. Today, I'm a non-believer of such nonsense. Zach got his money. His credibility is shady as fuck in my eyes because of a lot of his recent evidence. These people who talk about their haunted houses are just clout chasers for a pathetic end to nothing. Until we see a spirit demon in 4K footage captured unequivocally by accident, I'm calling BS on everything. My friend, well, lots of us used to party when we were younger. I didn't drink. But I'd go hang out at a bar with my friends. I was at a local bar with some friends, and a truck pulled up, threw a box full of VHS tapes on the ground, and sped off. We really didn't know what to do, but we approached it, and my friend Tammy grabbed a tape. We left pretty soon after that, interested in what was on the tape. We got back to her place, hung around for a little bit, then popped the tape in. There wasn't really any sound, just a bunch of short black and white videos, a chair, some lady brushing her hair, a tree, and then some really disturbing shit. We had no clue what any of it meant. I was the biggest movie buff of the group. So people were turning to me for answers, but I was absolutely stumped. Anyways, a few months later, the Ring trailer came out in theaters. This was long before any viral YouTube marketing or videos. Just a random box of VHS tapes. It was the early 2000s, I think. And I had just hit my 20s. I'll be 40 this year, and I remember seeing The Ring in theaters and freaking out when I recognized the video. The movie did a pretty good job of scaring the shit out of me at the time. Tammy still has the tape somewhere, but we've all moved around a lot, so it's probably lost in a pile of junk somewhere. I saw the 2002 remake of The Ring in theaters, back when CRT televisions were still very common, and there was inevitably one in everyone's bedroom. There are very few movies that manage to frighten me after they're finished, but that one lingered. I didn't get a full restful sleep for the next few nights. I just kind of stayed up, waiting for that TV to turn itself on. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is one that preys on the fear of being replicated in your sleep. How insanely horrifying to not even be able to fight back. Then the only way to not be taken over is through amphetamines, and the paranoia builds to a crescendo, and the gnawing intensity is 10 times worse. Having my soul sucked away seems worse than death itself. I'm terrified of spiders, and I just watched Arachnophobia again. Holy shit, I've never reacted so viscerally to a movie in my life. I was wringing my hands and holding my face and literally squirming while I watched it. I'm a huge horror fan, and as such, I've seen a ton of scary movies, but nothing has done to me what Arachnophobia did. I wish there were more scary spider movies because I want to feel this way again. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which was actually pretty enjoyable, had a spider scene that got me too. If anyone has any recommendations, I would love to know if there are any other movies like this out there. Pie's fun and scary fact. Almost all the spiders in Arachnophobia were real gag. I was, I think, 13 when the Blair Witch Project was in theaters. I grew up in Sedona, Arizona, so it was a very dark town at night. Aside from the fact the movie petrified me, I had to go back to my house, and my friend and his dad waited for me to go in my house to get some things for a sleepover. Of course, I could never get into my house easily because my dad was always at the bar, so I had to go around the side of the house and into the backyard and into my house. I honestly think it was the scariest and most horrific moment in my childhood, having to get in and out of that house. Jeepers. Creepers too? I thought I was going to get snatched in the night by him when I was 6. I would go out to get something like the mail or a toy I left and run back inside. I once slipped trying to run back to the porch and stubbed my shin on the stairs, and then I panicked more and had to limp a little. Shame that the director turned out to be a creep himself. JC has some interesting lore in the comics. I think I've destroyed my ability to be truly scared by movies by being such a horror junkie that my tolerance to such things is sky high. I can find certain things harrowing, atmospherically dreadful, or psychologically scarring, but the utter hide-under-the-seats terror I felt when I was really young is pretty much impossible to come by for me now at 30. My mother was always into horror, albeit of a more mainstream and psychological thriller variety, and there are a couple of exposures from my adolescence that disturbed me at the time. Specifically, I recall when I was around 10, peeking through my cracked doorway, when I was supposed to be asleep, at Red Dragon, which she was watching in the living room. The scene where Philip Seymour Hoffman is tied up, whimpering and gets his face bitten into, and the bit about mirrors placed in the eyes terrified me to no end. The remake of The Ring was another early exposure that had some frightening moments. Although I find the original better as an adult, I wasn't exposed to it until much later. Then, as a teenager, I watched Say 7N, and that was pretty intense. The lust bit in particular still messes with me a bit to this day. Such a horrific idea, even though nothing was really shown explicitly. Another honorable mention has to go to the first season of Masters of Horror, with the Don Coscarelli, Dario Argento, John Carpenter, and Takashi Miike directed episode being pretty impactful. As for more recent things, seeing It. Chapter 1. In theaters holds the title of containing a scene that comes closest to freaking me out in a while. The projector scene was just masterfully done. Other than that, the decapitation scene from Hereditary was impactful on its own, but I hate that film with a passion, so take from that what you will. When I was little, I was so scared of aliens in space. My dad went through this phase when I was like 3 or 4 where he would show me these UFO videos and stuff about people being abducted, and I would never tell him how scary I thought they were. We saw Signs when it came out, and it scared the shit out of me. I think I was 7 or so. Years later, we watched The Fourth Kind, and we both thought it was so freaky. That scene where the guy levitates off the bed totally got us. I couldn't wait to show it to my friends. Second time around, it was definitely not scary at all, and my friends wouldn't let me live it down since I was never afraid of anything and I hyped it up so much. The Grudge also really scared my sisters and I. We would sneak up behind each other making that croaking noise. The house we grew up in was really creepy on its own, so we had a rule where you couldn't do that at night, lol. Not me, but a funny family story from the 70s when The Exorcist was brought to Bahrain for the first time. And news spread everywhere of this extremely scary movie that is not for the faints of hearts. Everyone tried to get in to watch it, but most were turned away because they were under 18. People heard exaggerated stories of people fainting inside the theater, and some were taken by ambulances and many allegedly needed CPR. My eldest aunt was still a teenager, but she famously dressed up in high heels and adult makeup, and they thought she was over 18 and let her in. She was terrified, and she said everyone in the theater was scared, and many were screaming and crying, and some left because they were too scared to watch. My aunt left the theater badly shaken and could not enter the bathroom alone for a long time, and she could not sleep for weeks after that. Yet, my mom and her younger sisters envied her a lot. Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more stories.